Well, we're here to talk about unity and how we may develop unity in a town or city. But let's just introduce ourselves. So I'm Mark Hopkins, lead a church in Nottingham. I'm also part of Nottingham City Prayer, a unity movement across our city. More recently, I've started working for the Evangelical Alliance, promoting unity across the East Midlands. What about yourself, Joy?
I'm Joy Blundell. I'm a pastor at a live church in Lincoln, and I also am on the team for Transform Lincoln, which is the unity movement working towards the spiritual, social and cultural transformation of our city.
Fantastic. So let us think about how we may pioneer or start, or the things we might need to do to invest. So if I just pick up on three words and then we'll talk about some of your journey. For me, three words around unity are honour, humility and coffee. And I think if you put those three, so by honour, it's that are we honouring, are we valuing other churches and other church leaders, not just in who we are, but from our pulpit. Are we preaching? Are we praying for other churches? I think humility, it's holding the fact that we may be wrong, that we don't have all the answers, we don't always have the best way of doing something, so we are connecting with others of a different expression of faith, and realizing actually they may have a better answer or a better solution to things. And then coffee is the fact that actually anything unity has to come out of relationship, and if we don't know other leaders and we've not sat down for a coffee and got to know them, then unity is not going to flow, because that builds confidence and that builds trust. So I think if anyone's thinking of starting unity, get out there, get a cup of coffee with a local church leader. But for Lincoln, you've had some of those relationships, but then how have you sort of forged forward with unity?
Yeah, well, I think what you're saying is the kind of mindset that one church, just one of the local churches in the town, doesn't have the monopoly on bringing transformation to the city, and we can't do it on our own. We need to do it together in relationship, like Jesus prayed for us to do, so that we be one. And in Lincoln, I think there's been loads of amazing stuff over the years. So, but it kind of ebbs and flows depending on who's leading, and so you can establish something really good in one generation, and then it can go if you don't maintain or kind of keep the momentum going. And so we found ourselves about 10 years ago in a bit of a place where there wasn't really anything going. Everyone had kind of retreated back into their corners. And so we were actually doing, as a local church, at a live church, we were doing loads of community engagement and social action work, and we got really well known by the council and the NHS. And there was one other church in Lincoln that was doing something similar to us, and the council just kept saying, we need you to represent the church, and we were saying, well, we can't, because we're not everyone. And we decided just to find out where everyone was and what everyone was doing. So we did a Cinnamon faith action audit. So it's a tool that is made available by the Cinnamon Network, and it basically helps you to map out what's going on in the city and who's doing what. And it gave us some data that enabled us to go to the council and say, it's not just us. In fact, there's this amount of churches doing, I think it was something like £13 million worth of social investment every year. And these are who they are, and this is what they're doing, and we would love to introduce you to them all. And then we just built from that, start to build relationships based on what we had in common, which was we want to see Lincoln blessed and people supported and poverty eliminated, and we're going to join together to do that. And then from that place, we've been able to build relationship. But it's almost been like that's helped us build honour and humility as we've begun to see with our own eyes that we can't do it all.
And I think there's something, isn't there, because about this sense of knowing what unity is and what unity isn't. That and I know we've had a conversation about this. You can have church leaders that want unity because they want you to come to their event and they want you to support what they're doing, or you could have just two churches partnering. But actually, what you've done in Lincoln is representing the whole church and the church coming together around unity. And I know we in Nottingham we've had situations where some churches just want us to support what they're doing. And to them that feels like it's unity, but it's not. It's finding that thing that draws us all together. So in Nottingham, the thing that's drawn us together is prayer, and we've got a lot of churches and a lot of church leaders coming together around prayer, and seeing the city blessed as a result of that. But we can stand together on prayer. What's the thing you feel that's brought people together in Lincoln?
Well, it's definitely been social action, but then we've looked at you guys in Nottingham and thought, well, we're a bit lopsided. So we're very active in activists doing things, but we're not. We weren't necessarily praying, and so all the people in the churches that were doing the social action were really building relationships, but maybe the pastors weren't as much. And so we've tried to balance ourselves out a little bit, and we've created this kind of acronym around the word space, where we've recognised that there's lots of different ways that we can relate to each other and be united. So the Christians leading in their spheres, when we pray together, when we're active in social action, the churches and church leaders coming together, and then evangelism. And we've just tried to do those 5 things to turn, we call them cogs in a big wheel, turning towards the transformation of the city. And I think we're probably stronger still in the action part, but we're really working to strengthen the other stuff. And
I remember you telling me Paul did something quite interesting with the church leaders on Shrove Tuesday.
Oh yeah, we had so Shrove Tuesday. So we had pastas, pancakes, and prayer, and Paul just made a load of pancakes and invited anyone who wanted to come, who's a church leader or a vicar or a minister, and we just got together and then had some prayer together, where we're just encouraging each other, getting to know each other. It was brilliant because we had, I think, about 5 new church leaders that had just arrived in Lincoln over the last few months that no one had met, and so that was a good opportunity to like meet people and say, this is who we are and we want to support each other. And you never know what comes from a relationship, but the relationship's the kind of most important thing.
Yeah, so I suppose that in terms of a top tip for someone who's looking to do something in their town, it is that relationship. It's that finding something that can bring people together, just to get to know each other.
And I know as well there's loads of resources, aren't there? So there's some kind of back catalogue of talks from Ground Level National Forum of when we were talking all about unity, so there's loads more depth in that. And then your role, Mark, with the Evangelical Alliance.
So with the Evangelical Alliance, my role is to support unity, to help facilitate that across the East Midlands, but we're looking to roll that across other areas as well, and a real focus on bringing the church together. And then you're connected very much with Gather, another unity movement.
Yeah, so we're a kind of national movement that feeds into an international movement of city unity movements. So the movement within a movement within a movement, and so Gather does a national conference once a year, and learning communities, free learning communities that people can engage with, and some of it's very much focused on really prayer and social action. So but that's another resource to connect to.
Yeah, so lots of resources, but the bottom line, get to know the church leaders around you, connect with them and see what God is asking you to do in that city. Because I know in Lincoln you've got a real clear sense of it's about innovation. It's God's called you to do something. I think in Nottingham we feel a real sense of praying for the city to be blessed. But that's all started out of a relationship and connecting together. So enjoy the journey.